Welcome to another episode of Adventures in Movies Looks at dot dot dot. My name is Nathaniel Muir, and I'm the movie editor at AIPT. Joining me on this episode are the hosts of Adventures in Movies.
Hello.
Hello.
And this week we are looking at Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is a survival thriller horror movie about a family that's basically living off the grid. The husband's very satisfied. His daughter looks up to him. The wife is having her misgivings about it all. All of a sudden, they start having troubles with a particularly nasty wolf. And that actually might be the easiest part of it all. All right, let's get into it here. So Hunter x Hunter, it's basically three characters in it. What did you guys think of the performances?
Okay, so the performances were pretty strong. I wasn't expecting this kind of performance out of the three characters that we get. There was really a lot of fear. I guess it's something that I've never really seen fear for a feral animal. Does that make sense? Because I guess the only one I could really recall is Liam Neeson in The Grey, and he's fucking punching wolves. So being afraid of wolves is it's really I liked how everybody reacted to that.
So you've never seen Look Who's Talking Now?
Oh yeah, I mean Chris Alley in that.
Pretty scary. Those wolves talk.
They did.
What did you think, Blake, of the performances?
The performances were really, really quite good. You don't get a whole lot at the beginning to you don't need a whole lot to get where they're coming from, and they become incredibly believable really quickly. And I thought that was important.
Very personal movie. It's very intimate,
so.
Very quiet. Camille Sullivan, the wife, awesome.
Fantastic.
Yes,
super fantastic. Made me immediately look her up and be like, oh, I want to see more.
Yeah, that's the biggest compliment. Wide range of emotions, very well done. Danny, both of you mentioned the story. What did you guys think of the pacing? It is a little bit of a slow burn to start.
So it's a little bit of a slow burn, yeah. But I also felt it did pick up. It did pick up at I don't remember what time I had to use a restroom, and I was really into it, and I paused it. And I was like, oh man, this movie's moving at a pretty quick pace. So I don't know if it was much of a slow burn, or maybe that's how much I was enjoying it. But I don't know if it was. I don't think it was a slow burn.
I'm so I do think the first act, I guess you would say, is a bit slow, but I don't really have a problem with that because as soon as her husband, what's his name? I've already clicked away. Anyway, as soon as he goes on his proper wolf hunt, you're kind of left on the edge of your seat for the duration of the film.
Yeah, it's Joseph, by the way.
Joseph. Yeah, I was going to say Josh. Okay, so as soon as Joseph leaves, you kind of get this build to why he's leaving, what's happening. And as soon as he sets out, completely edge of your seat kind of stuff. Time, I thought, for the second part of the movie and third part, completely kind of flew by. The third act in particular, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I always, when I say slow burn, I don't mean that as it's not to degrade the movie at all.
No.
I think it's storytelling and world building. I think it's really well done, but it's also very methodical in it, and I very much enjoyed that. So you mentioned things start to speed up after the first act. The first act has a pretty big revelation right at the end. Did that catch you off guard? It must have caught you off guard. There was no hint of that.
No, it really didn't. I feel like I didn't I didn't see it coming. I feel like I turned away and I was like, I did a double take, almost a spit take, and I don't know. I did rewind it a little bit, just a couple of seconds before, so I was like, wait, is this what's happening? And I just wanted to. I was trying to like start figuring out what was going on, like in the story. Like I was already trying to jump ship, or not jump ship, but jump ahead.
Right.
Is jumping to conclusions, and
Which
I
you absolutely could not do at that point in the because it does not let you know what's going on. And
exactly,
I,
and
I mean that's a big. I mean that in the most complimentary sense. It's very well. What about you, Blake? When that first revelation twist, I guess, in
Oof.
the
Yeah, our first reveal. I mean, to say I wasn't already enjoying the movie, I absolutely was. But as soon as that happened, totally hooked me. I mean, to say it hooked me is an understatement. I was thoroughly invested into how this rest of this movie was going to transpire, and kind of like Danny said, you do start to like immediately go like, well, I bet it ends up like this. I'm sure,
yeah,
you know what I mean. But that's a great thing. I love when a movie makes me think, and continue to surprise me.
hmm
very much so. And that moment it adds another layer because it's like in the beginning you're like, okay, they're living off the grid. There's a little bit of a tension between the family. And then that happens, and it's a totally different movie almost. It adds another layer, but
yes,
still ties into what's going on earlier. So we talked about atmosphere and tension earlier. So now there's a new type of atmosphere and tension going on here. What did you guys think of the feeling at this? Like for me, it changed because it becomes a different type of movie all of a sudden. Well, I didn't know what was going on, but I knew it wasn't the same anymore. And like you said, Blake, like I couldn't turn away at that point. I was riveted by the movie at this point.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if I could say this. Uncertainty. There's uncertainty to this whole
Yes,
thing.
absolutely.
I,
Yeah.
I, I, I just after that revelation, you're just like, wait, what is what? So I I was sitting at my desk and I'm watching this and I kind of like just do this like close up and I'm just like now I'm like let's you're showing your cards, let's start getting to it. And I feel that's why I was like it's starting to move super like it moved a lot faster than I would have expected, I guess.
Right, right. So, before we get to the ending, which is bonkers, what did you guys think of the CGI? There is a CGI wolf in there. I thought it looked horrible.
Yeah, I
I thought
agree.
it was
I
pretty
agree.
bad.
It's something not even of note. I mean, it's very
It's
noticeable,
brief.
and I was like, okay, this is what we're getting to. But I also felt like this is not a movie where we're going to be spending money on special effects like
One scene for yeah.
CG. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, if Game of Thrones couldn't pull it off, I wasn't gonna expect them to either. All right.
So, we have this ending, and yeah, we're going right from the first act to the very final moment,
Sorry.
which is not to say there's nothing, because what happens in between is awesome. Great performances, incredibly tense, scary, very scary.
Yeah.
Like as you on the literal the proverbial edge of your seat is going
Mhm.
on here. So we have this ending. Did you find the ending to be predictable?
No. So the last 25 minutes of this movie, 30, were some of the least predictable I've seen in recent memory. You kind of get an idea of like, oh, you do, and like it's not like some of my guesses were wrong per se, but some of them definitely were, and those were the best kind. It totally took me off guard. Yeah, kind of unbelievable
Uh,
crescendo.
yeah, I feel like all my guesses were wrong completely. But I do feel that everything the crescendo is very very good. It's very
It's
very good, and
unbelievable.
yeah, uh, it's just it's
It's well
satisfying.
written. I think there's
Super well
Yeah,
written.
it's super
yeah.
real. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think the foreshadowing is great because there was a point where I thought, oh, this is how it's gonna end, and it didn't end how I thought it was going to. But there's little, I'd say, little, very subtle red herrings in there, and then when you look back on it, you're like,
Mhm.
oh, they built up to this. This was
Yeah.
not done for shock value. This wasn't an accident. This
Mhm.
is very much purposeful. So
Definitely.
do
Well,
you
that's what we
think?
kind, right? This is what we talk about when we build stories. Like this is the lore that we want, and this is exactly the payoff that we wanted.
Payoff, I wouldn't consider it lore because it's very contained. It's
Hmm.
one
Right.
story
Okay.
that's
Right. But
incredibly contained.
okay.
But yeah,
Um,
great payoffs. Great payoffs.
It's super satisfying. But that being said, do you think it was a little much?
Nah.
no.
You know what? Like, there's a lot of people that I probably will think so, but no, I think it was like it was almost perfect, and I say that very carefully. I know what that means. I thought it was an almost perfect ending to the story that we had just been presented. I thought it was damn near perfect.
Yeah. I just have to echo that. It's damn perfect, like damn near perfect.
Hmm.
It's yeah, just what I mentioned before. It's a great payoff.
It's very risky. There in the last,
Oh
I'd
yeah.
say 5 to 10 minutes, there's a number of risks that very easily could turn someone off who someone might be invested up until that point and think that I'm out. I'm done with this. So
It'll ruin it for some, I
Yeah,
think.
and it will, but I feel like those are the people that haven't really understood the horror or horror in general. We've seen this in many different shapes and forms, and this is that. It's like
well,
that little love letter.
well, I'll play devil's advocate here and say that yeah, I like the ending. I don't think it went too far, but I very easily can see someone saying like, yeah, well written, well done, but did it have to have been? Did it need to be shot like that? And someone can easily convince me that no, it did not have to be because that the way it was done,
I
it's
know
not
that
like it.
person, by the way. I know that person.
Well, it's not like the way it was done. Like it didn't put it. It had already won me over at that point.
Mhm.
Seeing that was like, oh my, this is amazing.
Hmm.
But it wasn't. It didn't make it or break it for me at all. It's kind of like a cherry on top.
Hmm.
Yeah, after eating that delicious sundae.
So I think I know the answer to this, but that ending as it was, did you enjoy and did it make sense to you in the context of the story?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I can't say anything without
Yeah,
spoiling.
Spoiling.
it's
You
Yeah.
know what
hard.
I mean? So it's really hard, it's really difficult to answer that the way I would like to, but I would say like no, it was yeah, I was completely satisfied by it fully. Yeah.
And the story that it's trying to tell, especially towards the end, the events leading up to it,
Hmm.
makes perfect sense to me. And that's
Completely.
why I don't mind the way it was shot. I think everything, just a culmination of events, led to what eventually ends up happening.
Hmm.
So, Blake, I'll start with you. Final words for Hunter x Hunter. Rush out to see this, eventually stream it, or completely avoid.
Rush, rush, rush. This is early in this year. This is one of my favorite things I've seen. Gotta watch it. If you're a horror fan, definitely 100% gotta check it out.
And Danny, what do you think of Hunter x Hunter?
If you can buy it, buy it. It's really, really good. Um, it's just so far. I know we're what, two
Off to a
weeks
good
in.
start so far.
Yeah, we're off into a good start of to these
For
kind of movies.
movies.
Yeah, for the movies. Uh, for the real horror that's going on, this is the best thing that's going on. This is the best thing that could have happened this week, I think.
Yeah, Hunter x Hunter to me is like an immediate rush. Everyone like who's seen it, and you'll see things like, oh, ending. The ending is this, but this isn't like one of those Sixth Sense endings where everyone knows it, but the rest of the movie people are like, I don't know. I guess it's about a ghost or something. Like this is a well-written story that from the first second till the very end will have you engrossed. The ending is just it's just a nice little bow on top of everything else. But rush out to see this. Every week you can see us here. Open review policy. Leave some comments. Tell us what we should see, and we will heap praise upon it or completely make fun of you. But check us out.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Adios.